Hi all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm so sad about the story that I'm about to share with you. Not that all my stories aren't sad, but this one tears my heart out. Not only for the victim who lost her life and the other two people in the home, but for the far-reaching impact it had in creating other victims who essentially found themselves at a crime scene virtually. According to WTMJ TV Milwaukee, 52-year-old Michelle Blackmon was gunned down in the kitchen of her home on Silver Spring Drive in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on September 11th of 2020. Police say Michelle was shot in the face and head multiple times by her own brother. Now, as if her murder isn't bad enough, police say there were two other people in the home at the time of the shooting, and one was logged into a virtual classroom for school. According to a spokesman for the Milwaukee Public Schools, it was obvious the shooting took place inside the home where the child was remote learning, and everyone logged into the class heard it. According to the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner, the student inside the house where the murder occurred, who was logged into class, was a 9-year-old girl. He said, quote, "A school-age child residing at the residence was active in an online classroom when the incident occurred. Multiple gunshots were heard by classmates, and a teacher in the online classroom platform activated 911 to the address on file for the student." Unquote. Police say there was a resident in the home when 45-year-old Mario Stokes shot and killed his sister, and according to that person's statement, Mario said he was going to the police station to turn himself in. The officer at the front desk at the station said that Mario went in and informed her that his sister no longer existed. According to the criminal complaint filed in the case, Mario and his sister had been arguing the night before, and he was told that he would have to leave the residence. Upon investigation, police found a handgun and shell casings in the kitchen and dining room areas of the home. News reports say that Stokes was not supposed to be in possession of a firearm because he was a convicted felon. His victim, Michelle Blackmon, was a local pastor in the area, and neighbors were shocked by her murder. This is the second story I've heard now about murders occurring in homes where children are logged into virtual classrooms. I have to admit, if I thought there was one good thing that came out of this pandemic, it was that children would now be attending school from the safety of their homes, and they would no longer be victims of school shootings. Well, I was partially right. Yes, I'm glad the majority of students are now physically safe from being gunned down at school. So very glad about that. But they're still not psychologically protected from experiencing the trauma associated with the shooting. People are just finding ways to do it online instead of in person. So incredibly tragic. Not that either of the shooters I'm referring to gave a rat's ass about the other witnesses in the homes or online at the times of their crimes, but the far-reaching effects on the children who heard the gunshots will still be the same. Just like students who were spared in school shootings in the past, but they still heard it all play out, equally as terrifying. In case you're unfamiliar with the other case I'm referring to, back in August of 2020, a Florida student's mother was shot and killed by her ex-boyfriend in their home while the child was logged into a virtual classroom at Warfield Elementary School. The child's teacher said she heard an altercation, yelling, and profanities coming from the child's home, so she muted the child so the other students couldn't hear. And this just absolutely destroys me. I can barely say it without crying because I can picture the little girl and the terror on her little face. With the student muted, all the teacher could do was watch the child react to the shooting. The sheriff made the following statement about the teacher's account. "The teacher's online," he said. "I've never done a Zoom with children, so I'm picturing there's other children on, and the teacher can see the children. The teacher said she heard a commotion, heard profanity," he said. "Realized there was some type of domestic altercation. Still could see the child that's online. The teacher said she mutes her button so nobody has to hear it, and then she sees the 10-year-old put her hands up to her ears. Almost immediately after the child puts her hands up to her ears, the computer screen went blank. He said, 'We know the computer was hit with a projectile.' According to news reports, 6 other children were also in that home at the time of the shooting. So, now we find that our virtual students are, for the most part, safe from shootings, but are still not safe from being exposed to them. I don't know what to say at this point. I pulled my kids out of school and elected to homeschool them during their junior high and high school years. There were too many school shootings taking place at the time. Hell, one school shooting is too many. And I found myself lying awake at night, terrified to send them to school the next day. Because I'm not one to think it's never going to happen to me, to us. I've never understood people who think that way, and I've never been able to do that. So, I told my kids about all the school shootings taking place and warned them that their days at school were coming to an end soon. They were young and didn't understand the horrific impact that these shootings were having on our nation, so they argued against it and wanted to stay in school. So, trying to find a happy medium that we could all live with, I told them that if any sort of incidents occurred in one of our schools in our district or a surrounding district, they were out. They said fine, thinking it would never happen. Well, it happened. A very courageous student in one of our schools that my child attended informed a teacher that another student said he brought a loaded gun to school. Police were called. A loaded gun was found in the student's locker. He was arrested, and that was the last day my kids attended public school. Not gonna lie, they hated me for it. They said I was ruining their lives. My only comeback? At least I'm making sure you have a life for me to ruin. If I keep sending you to school, you won't. They eventually forgave me and ended up loving it. Even their friends wanted to be homeschooled. I felt they learned so much more than they actually needed, or that they actually needed in life, and they never missed out on a bit of socialization. They still had all their friends and attended school sporting events, etc. So when they realized I didn't actually ruin their lives, they thanked me. One of the hardest parts of parenting is loving your children enough to let them hate you when you know you're doing what you feel is best for them. Back then, we didn't have virtual classes for them to attend, but if we did, I would have never in a million years worried that they would witness a shooting online during class. Never ever. But here we are, still traumatizing our youth when school should be a safe haven for them. I'm absolutely devastated. The parents have nowhere, absolutely nowhere, they can feel safe leaving their children, not even in an online class. I feel for the parents today who are dealing with these fears. I know. I've been there. My solution was homeschool. Now you can't even trust that unless you take total control like I did and opt out of attending a virtual classroom. There are tons of other online learning options that you can pursue that don't include live feeds from other students' homes. I don't know what to say other than I'm praying for you and your children, that you're protected from the evil in this world and your children are never exposed to it. If horrific crimes keep happening during online learning, you may have no choice but to end it and find a better alternative. You may feel that these were isolated cases, and hopefully they were, but I'm giving you a heads up now. I have so many crime cases that I want to cover that I'm considering putting out more videos every day just to keep up, and they just keep coming in. So, I'm probably going to be doing extra videos for a bit to try to keep up. Even though I pick and choose, there are too many important ones and I can't decide. Unfortunately, it seems that people are going crazy all over. Plus, I had a couple viewers suggest cases for me to look into as well, so I'd like to cover one or two of those also. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and commenting on my videos. I really appreciate it. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you on my next video.